Okay, here comes another tutorial. Several of you have asked how you make a site live. And so I will be giving you this outline. It'll be available on iLearn. Some of it we've talked about in class and some of it we haven't. So one thing that we discussed in class is the file organization. It's really important that you stay highly organized when you make a site. And it's easier to be organized on your local computer first, and then you'll just transfer that organization up to the server that you use. It's a lot easier to do that than to be disorganized and try and transfer files that are all over the place. So I'd encourage you to use an organization similar to this, where you have a folder with everything in it. And inside that folder, I like to have an assets folder that has my non-web assets. So I have Illustrator files and Photoshop files and Word documents and examples and old sites, and I put that in my assets folder. And then I have a site folder. And inside my site folder, the bare minimum that I need to have is an index page or the home page of the site and an images folder that has all of my images in it. Now I also made a CSS folder. That's not essential, and I made a 310 folder because that's where I'm creating the site for our COM 310 class. Okay, so that's file organization, and if you keep things very organized, I promise it'll just make things a lot easier. Okay, the next thing you'll need is a domain name, and a domain name is the name that will appear in the browser that will help people find your site. So for example, when I go to my site, brotherjudkins.com, that's the domain name. Okay, this part is the domain name. This whole entire thing is called the Uniform Resource Locator, the URL. And the reason that I have this is because I registered this as a domain. I happen to use GoDaddy to register that domain name, but there are many other places where you can register domain names. I liked that I got a deal on it because I was using their web hosting as well. I got my domain name for just $1.99 a year. The next thing you need is hosting services, and that's a computer that is on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, that will hold all of my files. So it's very easy to get a hosting service. Again, I used GoDaddy for my hosting service, but you can use other hosts as long as they don't have ads. For this class, it's required that you choose a host with no ads. And then finally, you'll need to find a way to transfer your files from your computer to your host computer. And there's lots of ways to do that. Really, it comes down to personal preference and what software you have available. FTP stands for File Transfer Protocol. It sounds really complicated and it looks really complicated, but it's really not. Once you do it once or twice, it's very simple. And I'll show you a couple of methods for FTPing your files to another or to your server. First of all, I want to show you Firefox's plugin called FireFTP. So I googled Firefox add-ons, and then I did a search on that page for FTP, and this is the top hit that came up, FireFTP. You can read the reviews, download it, add it to Firefox, and that's what I did. So now when I go up to my tools, which is up in the menu of Firefox, then it brings up this this FTP page, and that allows me to create an FTP account. And I'd never used this method before, but I thought it was fairly simple to figure out. I'm not sure what the account name is, but I noticed that if I hover over this field, that it gave me an example, ftp.something.org. So I put in ftp.brotherjudkins.com, and I guess I could put in brotherjudkins.com up there. And then I just put in my login and password that I wrote down from my web host. It's really important that you keep track of your username, password, login, password from your host, because that's what you'll use for your FTP. So I don't want to show you what my login is or my password, but once you fill this out, in fact, I'll just drag this off of the screen and fill it out. And then I'll click OK. And hopefully, when I click Connect, a connection will be established between my local computer and my site. Now, you can make the window much larger than this. I didn't because I want this file to be small. But anyway, it's very easy to establish a connection. Then you can browse to the place on your computer where all your files are. And I'll just use this as my site folder. So then that shows up over here. This is mine, and this is my host. And then I can select a file. So for example, if I want this index page, if I want to put it up to my server, I just click this arrow, I select it, click it. I can say overwrite, and that's all there is to it. Very, very simple. Let me also show you in Dreamweaver how you can do the same thing. So I'm going to open up Dreamweaver. Here's a page from my site. And I'm going to drag the Files tab over from the side just so you can see what it looks like. Now, in order to use this, you have to set up a site in Dreamweaver. And I've already done that. Maybe I'll start a new tutorial in order to show you how to use this in Dreamweaver.